Welcome to Hoop-De-Doo. This is a tutorial on how to incorporate tricks into your hoop routine. So many times I've heard hoopers say that they've learned a new trick, but they have trouble making it fit in their routine without disturbing the flow. Or sometimes they just don't bother to learn tricks because it's way too much trouble. Well, I'm here to tell you, never fear, mistakes are here. Yeah, you heard right. Mistakes are the secret to smooth trick hooping. They're the most valuable tool in your hooping tool belt. And I know what you're saying, yeah, I know. The more I drop the hoop, the more I learn from doing it again and again. But wait, let's think about the real value of making mistakes. When you drop the hoop or get hit in the head, how many times do you get frustrated and say, I'll never learn that hoop trick? If you're like me, I'd say it happens more than you'd like. I'm going to use what I have experienced in my hoop journey to share a concept that must be experienced every time you hoop in order to understand it. One thing I've learned about hooping, especially twin hooping, is that each trick leads to a new one. That makes all of the tricks connected to each other and therefore not really separate tricks. When you learn them this way, it's easier to see how they truly do move smoothly from one to the next. Of course, I've learned this from lots of experimenting, bruising, and retraining my brain and my body to be constantly aware of all mistakes. So let's talk about what happens when you make a mistake, when you drop the hoop or get hit in the head. Stop and try to retrain your brain to think differently about the bump on your head. Go back to the few seconds before the hoop hit your head. What was your body doing just before the mistake? What was the position of your hands and body? What was the hoop doing? Spinning, weaving, flying through the air? What direction was the hoop going? If you can't remember, try to recreate the moment, which is not too hard because we tend to repeat our mistakes again and again. You will be surprised to find that the natural inclination of your body and the hoop together at the moment of the mistake will usually lead to another trick. The mistake becomes a transition into the yet undiscovered trick. If you become aware of this on every mistake you make, you will find your hooping will become more creative. You'll not be frustrated with the mistakes when you decide to use them to discover your unique ability to become creative. In order to accomplish this, it is necessary to let go of frustration and all preconceived ideas about hooping, and let the joy of making mistakes become your motto. It then becomes exciting when you see the mistakes opening new doors to the possibilities of what you can accomplish. Never, never think of a trick as an end in itself. It is not. Each trick is a launch pad into a new transition or a new trick. You never have to say, oh, I've learned the 3-beat weave. Now what? In many of my tutorials, I talk about mistakes becoming new moves. Let me actually use the 3-beat weave as an example. So the reason that I'm using the 3-beat weave as an example is because it truly is a launch pad into many, many, many different moves. Okay, so when I first started learning, I had a really tough time with hooping in general, not just twins. So I'm going to put the red hoop in my right hand, this is my right hand, and the blue hoop in my left hand. So you can keep your eye on the red hoop because that's the one that's going to have the trouble. And I'm going to try to recreate the mistakes that I made during the 3-beat weave when I was learning it. So I would do right arm over left because I'm right-handed and that was easier. And when I would get down to the part where you're supposed to make this red hoop somehow spin and go under the other one and then over the other one, it's like, what? So what would happen with me is I would get it going down, and then I would actually get it to go under the other hoop, but it would either fly off into the air behind me, or sometimes it would hit me in the head on the way down. Let's see. So it would hit me in the head, and just any number of things would happen. So I would stop, and I would say, okay, what am I doing wrong? And I would try to analyze it. But you don't have to actually analyze it to use the concept that I'm trying to share with you. Okay? So as the hoop would come down and my hand would go under, the right hoop would go under, like I said, I would either toss it, it would go flying through the air, or it would hit me in the head, it would go up to my head and hit me. So what I would start looking at is the direction that the hoop was going. Okay, so the hoop is going back, back. Okay, so when you watch the hoop, it goes back, back. And your palm winds up, when it's under this other blue hoop, your palm is towards the ceiling and it's going up, and you're trying to get that then to somehow go over to the other side and have your left arm cross over your right. Okay, but I was stuck here thinking, there's something that you can do with this. And so rather than actually learn the 3-beat weave, I didn't at this time learn it, at that time learn the 3-beat weave. I went on to, since it wanted to go over and hit me in the head, under and then go over, I thought, well, it's going in that direction, let me just make a roll across the back with it. In the direction of the hoop, the way my body kept wanting to toss the hoop rather than sending it to the other side of my body, the move, the 3-beat weave with a roll across the back was born on that day before I even knew how to do the 3-beat weave. And it was so exciting because I had taken just a very small piece of a move that I was becoming frustrated with and made it into a moment of true joy and success by actually saying, okay, I'm going to do a roll across the back. And that's about the way the roll looked the first time I did it. And then I started practicing that instead of the 3-beat weave. Okay, so with this concept that I'm trying to share with you, you will find yourself going in all different directions from one move that you're trying desperately to learn. And if you just learn how to follow that direction that your brain is leading you and your body is leading you and the hoop is leading you, you'll find that you'll become more creative than you ever thought was possible. I am truly not a creative person, but when I started hooping and I saw different things happening, I started following those and knowing that I could always come back to the original move and learn it later, which I eventually did. By practice, the right hoop goes over, then under, and then I would roll it across my back. And that gave me such a feeling of success in the middle of all the frustration of trying to learn the 3-beat weave, which I'm sure everybody who has attempted the 3-beat knows the frustration while you're learning it. So there were other moves also that I discovered from doing the 3-beat weave. Another one was, if you want to toss, it was actually the 5-beat weave that I learned. So if you want to toss it, you could toss it and roll it across your back, or instead of doing that, it's the same exact thing. So I was really getting into tosses, rolling across my back, okay, and then coming back again, and there's another toss around the left hoop, okay, and then also there were So this is the toss around the left hoop. And then another one was the just catching it and doing the infinity, stopping the hoops and then making them go. And it's like the hoops and your body, the momentum of the hoop, its speed, its movement actually makes your body want to go with it. And when you do, that's when you find the new moves. And if you use the mistakes and welcome the mistakes into your hoop practice all the time and really make them a joyful thing, because they lead to discovering new things that you may not have seen anywhere else. And that, I think, is the exciting part for me, because I learned how to become more creative. And I've just learned this in the past year and a half, and I've been hooping for 3 years. And it has made my hoop practice so much more enjoyable and less frustrating. But it does require a lot of work, retraining your brain to think and to throw out all the preconceived ideas, to think differently about it. And you'll find that the frustration just totally goes away. Just in the past month, I've been trying to learn the 3-beat weave behind the back. And it's a very frustrating move, if you can imagine, behind the back rather than in front of you. So, and I have watched others' tutorials, but you can watch all the tutorials in the world, including mine. But I think that the main thing to do is, if you find yourself getting frustrated, just stop and say, okay, these mistakes are good. But if you listen to the mistakes, and many times forget, I'm trying to learn the 3-beat weave, or I'm trying to learn this or that, forget about that. And just, if the hoop goes in a direction that's not supposed to go, go with it. Go with it. And you will find that, oh my gosh, that is a part of the 3-beat weave or whatever move you're doing. And it's a little extra, something extra that I can do it because it was a mistake and I made it into something that's not. So go with the direction of the hoop, what your body is trying to tell you, and try to think in a different way about it. And you will be successful. So to give you a summary of what I'm trying to convey in this tutorial, there are basically 3 things to remember. Number 1, tricks are not an end in themselves. They are launch pads into new transitions and new tricks. Number 2, welcome mistakes into your hoop practice. With the joy of mistakes as your motto, you can acquire freedom to be yourself. You can create your own new style. Number 3, make it a habit to focus on your mistakes. I don't know how many times I've made mistakes and stopped and said, whoa, what was that? And I start following that mistake into a new trick or a new transition. Follow the mistakes to a new creative experience just for you. If you have any questions on this tutorial, please let me know. And happy hooping and good luck with it. Thanks for watching.